Hello, everybody, and welcome to Differential Discussions. I'm Melissa,
And I'm Dave.
and we're going to continue talking about red cell morphology today, and we're going to talk about this miscellaneous slide. So in my slide collection, I just wrote acanthocytes, etc.
And we joked if we ever open a merch store, that's definitely going to be the name of
it. I love it.
So this is like a good teaching thing too, because, when students start learning morphology and, what's the difference between an echinocyte and a acanthocyte? So how would you vocalize the difference between an echinocyte and a acanthocyte?
Yeah, so an echinocyte, I think I've compared this before in a past video. I don't remember which one, but I have, in that I compare them to sea urchins because they're in the echinoderm family. And so echinocytes, think of sea urchins, you think of equal-ish projections all the way around, versus an acanthocyte. Acanthocytes have uneven projections. Some may be large, some may be small. Some areas of the cell may have flat pieces, some may be slightly undulated versus those larger actual, spikes that you can see.
Mm-hmm. So in this field, we have both morphs, right? So
yeah,
of course we started here.
The best teaching couple are these guys right here.
Yeah.
Where you have a wonderful echinocyte. I'm not going to write out a echinocyte with this pen in my little mouse pad, but a echinocyte here, you have an acanthocyte here.
Yep.
So even projections all the way around, even-ish all the way around, and then very uneven, where you have a flat area, a nice spike, a nice flat area, spike, spike, spike. But notice they're not even all the way around. It's weird because like you have a small gap here, but you have a slightly larger gap here in between the spikes. And then you have this slightly undulated area where you have like very small spikes, and then just this back to the spike in flat areas.
Mm-hmm. Yep. No, it's a good juxtaposition of the two types of morph. And then if we go kind of looking around, we can see some other kind of acanthocytes, and not gonna lie, it does get a little tricky differentiating them, and qualified people might make slightly different calls.
Yeah, absolutely.
But
I think I would call this one an acanthocyte.
Same, agreed.
Unequal projections. It almost looks like little pincers here.
Yeah, it does.
In the front, and then it looks like it's acanthocytic in the front, acanthocytic in the back, kind of thing.
Is this the mullet of red cell morphology? Oh god.
Yeah, so it's an acanthocyte though, right? We would have to label it an acanthocyte because of those uneven projections. You can't call it half and half.
And I think in the spectrum, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you feel different, but in the spectrum, acanthocytes are a more severe morphology. So I would tend to want to call some, if it's showing both, as this fella is, I want to represent the acanthocyte more than I want to represent the echinocyte.
Yeah. Yep, I agree. And then I think I'd call him an acanthocyte also.
Agreed. Mm-hmm. Yep. And then, top right.
This one?
Maybe,
Maybe. I think so. No, I think so. Because when you look at it, you can kind of see there's a flat area here.
Yeah.
And then a spike, and then a flat area. Weird looking other spikes, but it's not even-ish. You can see where there's too many spaces in between.
Yep. And then I think most others would generally broadly be echinocytes to my eye.
Yeah, maybe this guy here is another acanthocyte.
True. Yep.
But again, for the just kind of looking and picking out like the really prominent acanthos, we picked those guys out.
Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's see what else we can find. Maybe we can actually find a schistocyte, and then we can compare an acantho and a chino and a schisto.
Absolutely, because that would be another difficult thing, right? To schisto versus an acanthocyte. Be a good thing to go over.
You have can you see it? Yeah, see it. This little guy.
It kind of looks like a slug, right? Like the antennae.
Yeah. Or like a basic outline of an upside down bunny.
Yeah, so bunnies are cuter than slugs. So yeah,
They
bunny
are.
probably.
But yeah. And then this guy kind of looks like a schisto,
Yep.
a little
Mhm.
fragment here.
Mhm.
Okay, so notice how this acanthocyte is very different than the other acanthocytes that we
Mhm.
saw.
Mhm.
It happens, you know?
Right.
Sometimes you have, as long as you have uneven projections, that's how we define an acanthocyte.
Right.
Don't really
Then,
see any echinocytes in this field.
yeah, I know. Yeah. Seeing some variable distribution.
Yeah. And then you've got these weird ones here. Like this
Yes.
guy here and this one
Yep.
here.
Yep.
This one looks like a deluminator. You don't know what that is. Sorry. Dave has not ventured into the wizarding world at all. He doesn't know what that is.
Very little. I did a bonehead thing, and I think someone had me watch Deathly Hollows Part 1 or
You watched
something.
that one. Okay.
Yeah, but like it's so deep into the
Yeah.
series, so I'll have to maybe this summer I'll get my Harry Potter on.
All right. But yeah, I think other than that, and these don't really fall under any classification.
I'm thinking like bizarre-ish,
Bizarre
right?
cells,
Like,
yeah. Yeah. They don't really look like acanthocytes
mm-mm.
or anything else. Let's see what else.
Decent looking teardrop.
That's a nice teardrop, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
The really nice one here.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some elliptos here.
There are, absolutely. Yep.
And this is a nice acantho.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, there's a rocket ship looking one to the right there. What do you think?
Yeah. Are you talking about this one?
Yeah. It's our SpaceX cell.
Yep. Some nice acanthos here. There's a few more nice ones. Let me clear my drawing. I can see the start of them a little bit further. Keep going.
This is a good slide. Acanthocytes are pretty rare, actually.
Yeah, you don't see them very often.
Probably a good thing. Ooh.
What are you oohing about? Oh, the cell?
I'm oohing about a cell that we probably shouldn't even talk about, but
Skip oocyte for now. Let's talk about it. Go ahead. Let's talk about it. For for those of you learning and you're like, just ignore it for now. And for everybody else who has an idea of what they're doing, it's an immature granulocyte of some kind.
That's right. Yep. So yeah, neutrophils descend from these other kind of precursor forms. Eventually, this will be a neutrophil, and sometimes you'll see this in like hemolytic disorders where they're going through kind of like a stressful situation. You get the body reacting to those inflammation and those like not nice things going on, and they start pushing out more immature granulocytes, immature neutrophils. So yeah, I think that's all we really need to say, I guess, unless you'd like to add. But
yeah, what is it? A myelo or a meta?
So like my gut is a Milo, but I kind of go to the beat of my own drum on these. So I don't know. What do you think?
I think it's kind of in between the two.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. And so typically when we're in between, we go to the more mature thing. So there might be an argument to call it a meta.
That's what I was just gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I would go with a meta just because of that rule, but
Mm-hmm.
I think either classification would work fine for it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And we'll have a more full video on this subject for sure.
We're not at white cells yet.
Yeah, we're not there yet.
Yeah, cool. All right. But other than that, there's some acanthos here.
There are. Mm-hmm. Yep.
So acantho, 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 acantho.
Yeah, I think so. Right? Like,
Oh.
because like I don't feel it's a like it's big to be a schistocyte or anything like that.
Big.
Yeah, so I don't know. I think I can go with that.
Yeah, I think so.
We are seeing in the top left one of those kind of pinched.
This one?
Yeah, another one of those bizarrish kind of weird cells.
I wonder what interesting, because it almost looks like these are little bites.
It does. It does.
What's going on? Nosy me.
It's that curiosity. Don't let your curiosity go away, folks. No matter how old you get, be curious about something. I recognize you won't be curious about MLS all the time.
That's okay though.
But be curious, right? Yeah, yeah. Just be curious.
I'm gonna come over here because.
Oof. Yeah. Wow.
All right. So I came over here because there's a schistocyte.
Oh, cool. I missed that. There it is. Yep. Cool.
Yeah. So I wanted to show him because he also has uneven projections.
Sure does. So why isn't it an acanthocyte, Melissa?
Because he's a fragment. He's not a
So-
whole cell.
So the size really factors in big here, right?
Yep. Yeah, absolutely. And then compared to him, you have acantho. Oh, and there goes my little drawing guy. Let me bring him back. Okay. Acantho, probably an acantho, definitely an acantho. This is one of those pinchy cells here again.
What's SpongeBob's buddy? The star?
The star
Guy?
there. Yeah, the star. I actually thought about a starfish when I looked at him.
Yep. That was my first.
See, I'm just bringing marine biology into MLS. We're talking about sea urchins, and now we're talking.
Hey, some of our other passions, right? It's not a it's good to bring those in.
Absolutely. All right. So for this slide, I think we would call 1+ acanthos or 2+ acanthos.
Yeah, I haven't been super disciplined with counting them, but I think it's a solid 1+.
Yes.
And then depending on, also our field is we're kind of like in a narrower kind of a field than what we see in the scope. But yeah, 1+. I wouldn't fight someone that said 2+ either, to be honest.
Would you want to call elliptos?
Elliptos seem to be pretty much around, aren't they? I mean, most of the fields, I think we've seen some form of them.
Yeah.
I also want to be mindful that some of the acanthocytes I'm seeing are kind of elongated to a degree, right? So I'm sort of sensitive to that. So I might say elliptocytes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And then I'd want to look around some more, but we haven't been seeing as many acanthocytes. So I'm wondering if those acanthocytes were artifact.
I think now in hindsight, I think they almost certainly were. Yeah. Although I appreciate that there was artifacts. And so this is another point, right? So we saw a field overwhelming acanthocytes, and yet we would not call it.
Yeah.
So acanthocytes especially can be localized artifacts on a smear. So be very sensitive to the area. And this goes back to drilling in the basics, that your morphology that you inevitably call should be representative of the greater slide that you see and not just isolated to a field.
Yep, absolutely. That's why I was saying I'd want to look some more just to see if there are any more acanthocytes, but if they're all bunched to that one section of the slide, then I wouldn't call it.
Right. How about schistocytes?
No, this is only one we've seen.
Yeah, so we would say nah.
So I wouldn't call them, and I don't think I'd call bizarre cells either.
Mm-hmm.
I think it would just be elliptos and acanthos.
Sounds good.
Cool. All right. Well, thanks for watching.
Thank you.
Please like, subscribe, and hit the bell if you'd like notifications whenever we post a new video. And feel free to reach out to us on social media or via email with comments or suggestions about future content. Thanks.